just to give people a little bit of time. Um, God, I feel out of my body right now. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
But I think I know I talked to y'all like I think early last year. Man, what a crazy year that was. Um, where are you guys at now? Where you at?
We are still in Romania.
You're in Romania. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I saw that a couple of weeks ago. Some of the stuff that we y'all were seeing in the sky. Okay, they're starting to come in now. All right. Um, yeah, like what? Where do you start with this? I mean,
Well,
like
I was thinking we spoke like 4 years ago when I was divinely pushed to Egypt to
yeah,
go into a
yeah,
divine union with Rick. That was a
yeah.
funny, interesting first time.
I remember
And
that very well. Hey, I just got to say that. No, seriously, I remember that story, and if anybody hadn't seen it, you could look it up. I think was it 4 years ago? Holy crap! Um, yeah,
yeah, no,
that
small,
was a
yeah.
that was courageous what you did, courageous, and I think it's like what everybody ultimately in their own way that's on this path. It's like we get these things that we're supposed to do, and they don't make any sense. But yeah, I know we.
Made, and I have to say I was lucky because it was, or I say they took my consciousness away. So I only felt the pull to go, and there was no question about it.
Yeah, yeah. No,
And
I can totally relate. Yeah, that's been for me. That's been 2021. Well, really, all the whole time. But Morgan went back to Australia in 21 or 2021, right when COVID hit. And so everything changed for everybody. But yeah, in 21, 22, and 23, I got, and it's starting to happen now. Actually, the last 2 3 days. Uh, what I can only describe as Divine Mother. You know, Divine Mother came in and said, "Hey, you're going to go do this." And it was 21, and then 22, and then 23. Same thing. And then the interesting thing is that the first part of this year, what I would call the father or the grandfathers came in for the first time in a long time, and now they're both playing. They're both speaking. So I can relate to that. Um, but yeah, I mean, you guys are. I mean, I always say I don't care who it is, and whether you know, it's not even about. It's not even about like everybody's got a different purpose and different purposes and different things that they're pulling in but I just admire anyone that walks the talk. And you guys have just been like crazy. Like just I mean to me it's just been inspiring. I don't get on social media much anymore, but yeah, so thank you for that.
you're welcome. It's just following that inner
Yeah.
inner voice guidance. So it's going actually automatically, but in the meantime, a lot of layers also come up where you have to go through. But the interesting thing is, because we started about that, I left like 4 years ago, divinely called to go on a mission, and it is like repeating again. So here I am, 4 years later, on the date one day of the day that I was flying to Egypt, I'm again divinely guided or pulled
Wow.
to move to the Netherlands.
Wait a
So
minute. Wait a minute.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I felt a change coming for a long time, like a few months ago, but there was no opening. Your free choice. Your free choice is not there anymore. When you go for the bigger for the greater good of all, you follow what needs to be done. I mean, Femke would not leave the children, but there was something bigger that pulled me away.
Yeah.
to do. And now it's like, so what I say, like a few months ago, I felt that there's something started to change. There was change coming, and we feel it all. There is change. I mean, we are in the middle of it. But there was, for me, not an opening or a door or divinely something to act on. So what I had to do was constantly go back in the trust, surrender, and just know that if something needs to be done divinely, I will get it, because it's the same as how they pushed me to Egypt. That is something so strong that I know that if something needs to be done divinely, I will know when to act or what to do. So that a few weeks ago, I was guided to check flights to the Netherlands. It's a long story, because I also, before, like a few months ago, I also felt with the camper was done. It was finished. That was just
What you mean it? You
some.
mean it? Did it die?
No, no, no.
Oh, you just mean you were done.
Surprisingly,
You were done with it.
that yeah, that was done because my kidney started to play up. So it's an old camper, and it's vibrating a lot, and a lot of noise and vibration. And
Mm,
I had 20 plus years ago a kidney operation, and suddenly it started to come up again.
wow.
And also for me to go deeper into the trust, because as you know, I stepped out of the matrix, so there's no insurance, no, healthcare or whatever. So a little bit, yeah, there was still fear, like what
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
it's again, like, and then. So I really had to go deep, deep, deep in it, and just going in that full trust, and knowing that you are the one who can heal it all yourself.
Yeah.
But with that feeling, it was also clear for me that traveling in the camper was finished,
Yeah.
an overkill after 3 years.
Well, that's
So a
that's
few weeks ago, I gave the camper away to somebody, and that was already a big change, because it was our roof, our bed, it was our house for 3 years, and here I am just. And then I was guided to check the flights, and exactly on the 16th of March, the cheapest flight was there. All the other dates were expensive, and I had to just book it one way, and not knowing why, not still, yeah.
so
I don't
you
know. I
did.
don't know.
So you booked it? Are you leaving tomorrow? Is that what you're saying? Did you book?
Saturday, yeah.
Oh wow. You're leaving on the 16th, and you just know
Yeah,
you have.
exactly 4 years. Exactly 4 years when I left to Egypt. Now I'm going again in something
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I consciously don't know. Consciously I can think of things. Of course, I'm going to see my children because I didn't see them for over a year. But that's so far as
It's something bigger.
I can see.
Yeah. It's something bigger. Yeah. Yeah. I mean that. I mean there's so many things in that. And I've really been paying attention. I always have, but I've been really noticing it this year because of the last 3 or 4 years. The cycles, even though the circumstances and situations look different, but the energies are the same throughout the year. I was even told that the last 2 years. I was told you're going to have the same energies. This is like in January, February. You're going to have the same energies this year as you did the year, and it was exactly the same. And then this year, I was told same thing, but y'all are so different now. Like I woke up on the 9th of November, and we had been over for 11 and a half weeks. And I woke up that morning and I heard, y'all are on the other side now. All that stuff is over there. It can't touch you. It's a new world. And then I messaged Morgan, and then we got back together, and then things have just progressed since then. but same with you. Like I found myself uh, back in my hometown, reunited with my mother after 6 years of not speaking. All this family dynamic going down, and I'm just like, what? And I'm back in the studio where I started, where I came off the streets when I was homeless, and did the first video, and that was in
In-
2014, 2013, right? So it was 10 years to the day. I'm walking the same streets I was homeless. I'm in with my family again. I'm like, what is going on here? And then you got all this stuff that you're trying to follow from the human part that has matrix, threads to it, like getting immigration, getting a passport, all those things that you give up because I haven't been in the system. So it's a really strange thing. But I like what you said about you really don't know. You go and you follow it, and it's almost like the step appears under your foot as it's coming down.
yes,
You know
yes,
what I mean? It's crazy.
yes. I was thinking because of course you're gonna go feel and see what could be, or and then what came up was like, when I had to leave the children, even that I knew I had to do it, there was never a question about it, because of knowing that they choose you as a parent, and when you do what you come here to do divinely, they will get their experiences because they choose you for it. So,
Yeah.
but after that, so many layers of still having to let go of them came up, so many. And the the deepest one was like a few months ago, that it was like really grieving,
Mm.
like if they were dead. But thank God, when I went through it, there was that light, that tells you, no, they are still in this reality, they will come with us. But I had to let them like so go if they were like not
Yeah.
here anymore. And after that, it's like, and it sounds funny because it's like I'm their mom and I love them. I mean, they are the biggest love in my life, my children. So also the biggest one to let go of. And I didn't know that there were so many layers of letting go, and this was a major one. But after that, it felt like if something freed up. Of course, you feel free, but because there's no controlled emotion here anymore. So you see them really as separate souls, not like they have to go through their experiences, and if they want to have their mother in their life, they will come, and I don't have to control that anymore.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I thought, okay, so I had to let go of everything. And the biggest one, the children. Again, the children were just the biggest lessons. And when I embodied that one, then the only big laugh was in here is Rick. So I also think or feel that by me stepping out and separate, like physically separate myself from Rick, is also to experience that of letting go. I don't
Yeah.
know if that makes sense for you. So
Believe me, going on 3 years, how does that make sense? Like, Morgan and I, like we, busted our ass. You know, for me, it was like from 2011, and then I hit the road and end up, we have this thing going for a year and a half, and then she comes over, and then she goes back, and then she comes over in 2018. We get married on a spontaneity kind of thing. It just happened, and then she has to go back, And then I end up with no money, get called to Hawaii, like of all places, right? Like an expensive place. She comes over. We're just basically living day by day. And on the night before we got to put her on a plane to go back because we can't afford it, I'm going to sleep in the car. We had a breakthrough. And then, so you figure, hey, you're light workers, you found each other, you're doing the work, we're doing 6 shows a day, living on an organic farm. And then one day I get this message, you're leaving, you're going to the mainland. You know what I mean? And so then that all happens. And then we get a house after we travel all over the country doing what y'all do. And then she's got to go back, right? And you're going, what the hell? But like you said, it's this whole surrendering thing. And then I love what you're saying too. I've got 6 kids and of course a lot of family, and I went through a lot of that stuff early on. But I think you really sum it up right. These are their souls just like us. They just happen to be, and it's a very important role, but they happen to be related to us by blood. And I think that's one of the things that you talk about, this detachment thing, or like the separation thing. What looks like a physical separation that the soul doesn't really, it doesn't, I don't know, that's what I'm finding, is that I have peace in my soul with it. Like I don't worry about how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, because that connection is there, right? But yeah, I do get it, and I think that it's a big part of. There's a lot of talk about these couples and this and that, but it's a big part of it. It's a big part of it, and I've met a lot of people that's happened to. In fact, Franco De Nicola. Did you know Franco? Remember him? Uh, we did a
No, I
lot of
don't think
lot
so.
of shows together. Everyone pretty much knew him. You probably recognize him if you saw him. Well, he he and I got COVID. We were pretty close, and we got COVID in the 10th of October in 2021, and he ended up transitioning about 2 weeks later. We're very very close, very like brothers, and his partner's Kimberly Ross. So she went through that, and so I happened to talk to her a couple of days ago after not speaking to her, since like November, and that's what's happened to her. What you're describing, it just looks different. She was in this relationship for 10 years. They were doing high level work. He was very much like Rick, with his intel. And she was talking about that. She went and got a job. She's finding herself. You know what I mean? It's like it was a necessary thing. So I think these things play out in a lot of different ways. But I think that personal sovereignty or personal power or whatever you want to call it, there's no exception to that. Not even your partner, you know?
No, I was speaking with Rick about it more, to go more into it, and it's also still maybe not being sure, 100% sure. So there's like, feels like by me going into the world without, uh, let's say, nobody, like Rick was always is the biggest love. I mean, he loves me, I think, the most that ever did in this reality. So being together for 4 years, 24/7, and going through everything where we went through, with the adventure and the mission and the camper and breaking down and going into the middle of nowhere, and where I constantly had to go into the surrender and trust, but also, and I saw, and I mean, I experienced the magic. Everything is divinely orchestrated. When something breaks, there will be a man coming who can fix it on the spot. I mean, it's magic. But still, he is always there. So it feels like I have to step away from that and to go more to feel how it feels to stand alone. Not alone because I'm not alone, but with any, yeah.
Yeah.
and let's see what happens. So
Yeah, yeah. Well,
yeah, yeah,
well, I don't know about y'all, but it was again, when it comes in, it comes in, right? And what is that that's coming in? I mean, how much of that's human? How much of that's uh, higher consciousness? You have doubts. You have this. You have that. Um, but I really agree with what you're saying. And one of the things that I was pretty obvious was just from a soul location standpoint. I think there's something to be said for the magnetics of being in different places and the energy that continues to, you know, build between the, you know what I mean? So there's stuff that I don't understand. Uh, but yeah, I think there's got to be some rhyme to the reason of like what you're describing. It's a necessary part of almost like a initiation or a prerequisite to the next thing down the. You know what I mean?
that's how it feels.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I'm sure you went through with the kids. You know, I know I did. Now that was before I reawoke, but it was still a very painful process. And
Yeah, and I
yeah,
didn't know that there were so many layers still, I mean,
yeah,
I left already with the knowing this is what I need to do. The children are fine, everything was divinely orchestrated. But still after that, so many layers came up, because you also want to, you are leaving them from one day on the other. So you want to, or the one thing, it's like you want to keep it still. It's not that you are disappearing. I didn't, it's like a divorce. When you say it in the old, it's a divorce. And how are you going to go in that situation with this situation? How are you going to deal with it all together on the best way for the children? And that's where I did so much my best, like constantly trying, but it was like rolling against the river because I was the one who left, So
yeah.
there was nothing good about that. But that's another long story. But it's all after 4 years. It's all it is what it is. So it's
I feel for you. Believe me, I feel for you.
don't
I remember
no,
that.
please don't need.
No, no, I don't mean in a bad. You know,
Yeah,
well, you know, the nice thing about it is that there. That's why I like doing the show. You know, even though I took a break for like 3 months because I just lost it all. You know, coming to December, I was like, man, 12 years of this, I'm done. I can't. I thought I was gonna have a nervous breakdown, and I had to take time off. And to hell with getting the messages and the email. I mean, it was my health, it was my spiritual, physical, and so on. But what I was going to say is that it's nice because there's not a linear thing going here, and so many people have experienced what I'm about to, or what you're about to, and I just remember going to the airport, and and having that goodbye, and then getting in the car and just screamed, and wailed for about 5 minutes, and then went home. I mean, I don't know where we stand in the universal mix of everything. I know there's a lot of narratives, but I got to say this has got to be up there with the biggest things we've ever done as a soul. It has to.
yes,
It has to be.
yes. But enough is enough, and when is enough. But it's changing, and it is as within so without. So we are feeling the change and being and changing whatever in whatever way, and outside it's changing every day. I mean, so
Yeah.
let's get it over with.
Let's get it over with. Let's get it on, right?
Yeah, then let's, yeah.
Well, I think that's what's happening. I think that, and I wouldn't be surprised if part of the reason that y'all are doing what you're doing is because something's about to happen, and what I said earlier about the positioning of a soul's coordinates, especially when you got two souls working together, and the power of that magnetic attraction while they continue to do their work, which looks like they're separated, but they're not. I mean, there's some big stuff. I feel like that it's here now. It really is. I mean, I feel like the I don't want to say the shoe's going to drop, but I know that people like you and me and the people that are here, I see more and more evidence every day. They're personally expanding. People are personally expanding. They're self-sourcing. They're self-healing, like you're talking about. And the distortion is probably going to, scream and holler a little bit to test us. Maybe that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Almost, yeah, almost like everything that we experienced, like say even up to like last month, it don't even matter. Like the only thing that matters is what's your consciousness like, right? Where are you at? How do you feel? Are you in touch with your, how you feel? Like you're talking about the kidney thing, and I know a lot of people have talked about other physical things. These messages that these things are telling us, our body. I mean, this is like pure intel coming from the universe. I mean, there's just all these different things, these different dynamics changing so rapidly. And here's what I find really interesting this year is there seems to be a really loud, um, I don't know if you would call it a truth or evolution, um, the self-sourcing, the self-empowerment. You know what I mean? Like it's changing everything. Like everybody's going to sit at a table and they're all going to be equal. Period. There's no exceptions. It doesn't matter who or what you are or what you do. And I think
Beautiful.
that's something
Yes.
that it's a difficult. I think it's a difficult thing in the light worker and starseed circles for people that have been out there doing it for so long, because we truly have to let go of that identity. We're souls just like our kids. You know, we're we're, we're all the same.
Yes. The interesting is when you embody that and know that, then the easiest thing is to sit under a tree and just to be in that beautiful space. But if everybody would do that, what would change? So there is also a reason why we are here and
Yeah,
that we have to do something hands on.
yeah,
Even that you know that you are it all. I mean, when you experience the all there is, but you are still in this reality, well, you know that you are here to do something, and not sit under a tree and be in that beautiful zero
right.
space and maybe there are ones who also have to do that, like because everybody needs to do what they need to do and because everything is connected, so it makes on the end all sense. But then again, it's like what are you here to do? Are you going to do things with your head because you think you have to do it, or are you just be in that space and follow in the now the guidance what you have to do?
Yeah. Well, I think there's some similarities here. You're going back to you're going to be around family, right? Like I mean,
Well, no, because family
no.
is still family. I didn't see or speak to family for 4 years, so it's the children where I still have contact with. And but what I said, I stopped trying to keep that control, so I had to let that go. So the only thing I was planning, so to say, is like with a divine one who comes from the US on also on the 16th. She booked an hotel for us in the city where my children live. So I said to the children, I'm in this hotel for 3 nights. You are free to come whenever you want to visit me. So I leave it now up to them. So
Right.
I'm not gonna control it or try to make an appointment or
Right, right.
call them, or that's all. I went through all that, and now it's just I'm there. If you want to see me, I would love to, but if not, it's fine too.
Yeah,
And I can say it, but also feel it now. So it's like it's
yeah,
embodied.
yeah, yeah.
That's the only thing that I know. What's where I go, and
Well,
then, poof,
yeah. I mean, like I said, I ended up coming here by accident. Well, there's no accidents, right? I actually had a
no.
I got a free ride from a couple of bounty hunters at the end of 22. But anyway, it wasn't. Now, two of my daughters were here, and my second wife, she died, and they were the two kids from that marriage, and we got separated like when they were like 14, 15. A lot of family intrusion, a lot of family involvement, a lot of drama and bullshit. And so here I am doing Sology all these years. I've lost contact with everybody. I stay in touch with my kids a little bit. We're good. And I come back, and within 4 or 5 months, I'm reunited with my mother, and I get my mother out of the senior living, and I bring her back to her home, so she can be in her home. And there's all that Mother Goddess stuff playing out and everything. But my point is, this is why I think that you might we might be talking because because of my connection now with her, all of my brothers and sisters and all these other things are playing out. Like my aunt's here, she came last night. Yeah, so I'm having to face all these things, but I'm doing it in a way, like for instance, there's been a lot of uh, things thrown at me. There's been a lot of like they're trying to like hook me, and I won't engage them. I love them. I don't project on them. I get these nasty texts and different things, and I just say, you know what, I'm a different person, and I understand because I'm actually about to walk into a situation next month that's kind of brings it all together, and everybody's there, and I'm being told you're going to go there and you're going to hold the light, and it's not going to be just words. You're just going to know what to do at the time. You don't have an agenda, and your objective is to just look everyone in the eye, and so they know without saying that you unconditionally love them no matter what. Right. And I don't have it all figured out. I'm just trying to connect the dots with what you're because that was
But that's
unexpected.
beautiful.
You know?
Yes. But how beautiful is it to be with your mom now?
Yeah.
I mean, after so long, I mean, you know who you are. You know,
Yeah.
you know the bigger picture, and to take care of your mom,
Yeah.
it would be the
Yeah. I saw what you wrote the other day about mother. That was powerful. That was so powerful. It really was. So that was and and my mother and I, like a lot of our lives, if you look at most people, their first point of projections their mother. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
uh and so we had a very volatile relationship, very, very extreme. I was equally off. I'm not pointing fingers, anything. It was just what it was. It was dark. It was ugly. And so I went my separate ways, came back, and I just out of whim said, it's Mother's Day. Can I take you to lunch? I still knew her number. And she's like, yes. And so we went. And you know that from that day, um, we've had nothing but unconditional love. We haven't had one cross word. And the interesting thing is a few months before, she's 84, she had a procedure done. As a result of that, she had a huge blood clot in her heart. So she chose to get open heart surgery. When she woke up, she heard uh, your heart is open now.
Oh,
Wow, right? I didn't know any of this, but yeah. So I feel like that what you're doing is very brave because you don't know what you're stepping into, you know, and yeah, I have a lot of admiration for the both of you, um, and I always wanted to get you on the show individually because I feel like you have a lot to offer. I didn't realize it'd been 4 years though. Holy crap!
no, we had some in between with the rig together.
Hmm.
I'm just still thinking about your sharing with your mom because everything that happens in the past, there's a moment you realize that it happens because of your experiences, and because your mom also had experiences in her, and when you have that unconditional love activated, you can see that and just understand everything and just love them and just without all that drama and all that stuff that's just was needed to be where you are now, So thank you,
Yeah,
Mom, for all the
yeah.
terrible experiences. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but it, yeah, it's funny. And you know what's funny too is it's like well, I don't want to be, I want to be clear. Obviously, she is Mother Universe, but in the human experience, she's it's becoming the roles are kind of reversing, right? Like the other day, one of the family members pulled her in, which hadn't happened before, you know. And then I got a few texts. And then I went and said, "Hey, I guess something happened." And yeah, and I said, "Okay, well, next time we know better, you know." And she's like, "Yeah." And then I went back over there 2 hours later, and she was crying like a baby, and she doesn't cry. And I said, "What song?" She goes, "I'm so sorry I pulled you into it." I said, "Hey, don't worry about it. I'm not worried about it.
No,
You know,
no.
you got to take an action to know what will happen and what choice you'll make the next time." And the other thing that's wild is because she's been in this house 20 years maybe, and we've always lived in this area, and this is where I was homeless, and I mean, just all this stuff, right? Well, I took her to Sedona, and you know, when we got back, even there, she was having psychic experiences. Uh, but we got here, and they continued. Like there's ancestors around. Like even to the point where one night I heard her scream, and I run over to her room, and she said, "I woke up and my mother was standing right in front of me, physically standing in front of me." Now that's just one.
Wow.
So there's those signs that are happening too, and then you have this experience where your family thought you were crazy, and then you have somebody that's actually in your reality
Start
going,
to.
and the mother,
Yes.
yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, so
Yes.
that's pretty wild.
Yes. And I think it will happen more and more with all family from ones who are aware already from what was going on.
Yeah,
There are so much things happening. Yeah. Can't wait to just unite all in harmony and love, you know.
yeah.
And
I
it will happen soon.
Now I don't know about y'all, but a lot of people I've talked to, and even if I go back to Franco, because Franco was pretty good about looking ahead. His intel was really good. But
Yeah.
that 2024 is is where the change really takes place. Like the real change begins. We'll see it, touch it, feel it. You know what I mean? Are y'all feeling that? Are y'all getting that type of vibe?
Yeah. But I'm already seeing it.
Yeah.
It's for me, I always see myself as an observer from old timelines, so I can connect what's going on in there and then see the bigger picture, even if it's difficult for me to explain it all. It's just a feeling. But there's so much coming up already.
Yeah.
The only thing is, it's like if we are not like waiting for that big bing, big bam, you know,
Yeah.
that everybody starts to see it immediately, you know. Now it's so dripping, 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 even that it goes more and more and more, and people see more. I mean, it is actually all clear in your face what's happening, you know. So, but I feel there's still a point coming. And that then I'm speaking about the lower timeline. If I observe the lower timeline, yes, I think soon something, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
will will and it's I'm just observing neutral and see. But you know, again, everything is connected. So if that timeline goes faster, then we also can go further, you know. We are more like in between for quite a bit already. Like, but if they come up, we can go up, you know.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely, it makes sense. And that's another thing I've
And I
noticed.
think,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, sorry.
No, no. I was just gonna say the other thing I noticed too is that I'm not talking to a lot of people. By the way, I think I've talked to like 6 people on the phone since the first of the year, and but I'm noticing that there's a de-emphasis or less focus by a large, you know, measure of the global thing, like the wars and the BS, and they, you know, like it's become less, and it's become a
Yes.
more localized experience, and that's even a distraction now. You know what I mean? Like having to
Oh yeah.
fix and save and all that. No, no, it's just right here between me and you right now, or between me and my mom, or between our partner. You know, it's this conversation. It's just this moment. That's all it is. It's like carrying a. I was talking to my friend, and her daughter had twin babies a couple days ago, and she said, "Oh my God, you look at a baby," and I'm like, "That's it. That's what we're trying to get back to." Their whole world
Yeah.
is, you know what I
The
mean?
pureness.
Yeah,
Yes.
just like this coming from us is what is the point, you know.
Yes, but then again, if you come again to the pureness, the knowing the I am, you know, that beautiful connection with all there is, and but still we are here, experience there, you know. So I sometimes people say, yeah, but I'm not speaking about it, or I'm only in this beautiful, but still it's there. There's still things going on,
Yeah.
and that what's going on needs to uh, happen, I guess, because then we can all, you know, like it's all connected. So,
Yeah.
and of course, when you observe it, you don't energize it anymore. I mean, you don't feel. And that sounds maybe a little bit harsh, but
Right.
if you see things like bombing or whatever, I don't feel it because I not even know it. For me, it's not true, so I don't energize it. Even that it can happen there, it's not for me to. So it's really a pure observation to see where they are, because it's also, you know, in the lower timeline a script what's already was in that whole
True.
Q movement written, that it would happen on that date, and that's you know. So it's there, but still it's connected where we are
Yeah. That's a
going. I
that's a
mean,
very good point. Yeah, you can't just get stuck in the fluffy love and light. You're right. I think what you're saying is right too, because we are in a quantum thought reality, and whether it's a war or a bomb or a vaccine or a whatever, or it's our mother, our sister, our brother, you know what I mean? It's this thing about not being in judgment, being that observer, but not like we used to talk about, oh, we got to be the observer. No, no, but like really,
oh
really, like you said, feeling that you're not feeling that you have embodied. That's weird.
yeah, yes, yes, it is, it is, it is. It's so weird.
Well, it's weird
Yeah.
because we have all these experiences and connections, and then to think that the real truth comes in, and you're so human when it does. Like you think it's going to be, where's my wings, or when can I fly? But it's like, this feels like you. I'm going to go home in 2 days. I don't know what the F's going to happen. I just know I'm supposed to go.
And you know what? You are not the first one who named it home. Going home. But there is no home there for me anymore. Home is here where the heart is. But I know what you mean. Home, it's
Yeah.
where my physical body is born and where my children are. But it doesn't feel that I'm going back.
Right.
Even that it looks like I'm going back because I'm going to the Netherlands where the past reality was. But there is no home. There is no home to go back to.
That's true.
So I only know that I have to go, so I'm doing that, and I love to see the children if they come, and I think they are. And then, well, maybe in 2, 3 days the whole lower timeline changed, so everything can change in a blink of an eye. That's how it feels. So I don't know. I'm just being. I'm just still surrendering in full trust, and let's see. Let's see. Thoughts.
Yeah. Well, what can you
Yeah.
do? Yeah. But
Nothing anymore.
but uh, when I came back a little over a year ago, I, it, there was something about, and it didn't happen. It just happened organically. I kept coming back. I was almost like I was retracing my steps, and in retracing those steps, I had to open up this again. Like, say, with one of my daughters, okay, or both of them, that their mother died. So I was faced with opening up again, and I guess you could say having a greater level of empathy and compassion, patience, all these different things, not just for them, but for myself. It was weird. It was really weird. And it would be nice if everything happened in order the same way for everybody, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
So, so there's things that you did already that I'm gonna do, and vice versa. So it's good to talk about it.
Yes, even that, of course, in the last 4 years, we did a lot of energy work and in the Netherlands. So I was in the Netherlands, and it's what you say. I was in the place where I had the house and a beautiful life, and now suddenly I had to visit that place. The children were not living there anymore, but I was living in a camper on a very low minimum budget, and I had to go into the supermarkets and the shops where I in the before just could go and just was, like, so I
Hmm.
also had to change that imprint, because now I was walking there in a totally opposite situation as before. And that was also with the children. So they say, I'm changed. Yes, of course, we change all. So, but it will be interesting this time because now it's like quiet here. So they choose to visit me instead of I was always trying to visit them. So now it's up to them. So they come to me.
Hmm.
And that's a totally different situation as what was in the past 4 years. So I'm also excited. I also have a feeling of excitement for myself to observe myself, like what is going to happen, what feelings are coming up when I'm leaving Rick for an unknown time here, or where's he going, or what feelings will come up, and how does it feel to be in a city again after always being in a beautiful mountains, and it's or suddenly in a plane again. Do I still remember how to check in a plane? It's like all funny things are coming up, and I just surrender and trust and just know that everything is perfectly fine. But I'm excited to just observe again. What will surface or what will present itself.
Yeah.
I'm, let's see. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting times,
Yeah,
but
because
beautiful.
because anything can happen too. That's the other thing. For me anyway,
Yeah.
I'm like going, okay, I'm open. I think of two lucid dreams I had over the years where the timelines collapse. And one of them, uh, the government came and got me. I was in court. All of us were starting to be seen, and I levitated in the courtroom. And then the other one, I was in prison, and I teleported, dematerialized, and then they caught me, and then I did it again. But it was all about our story, right? It wasn't me. It was collapsing, and I can feel how we're above this, but at the same above as in that was collapsed. Uh, but I go through really an exercise every morning of gratitude and such, but I also do it to stay open. I mean, there could be underground uh, trains that run on gravity that can go from one place to the other. There could be a whole other world on the other side of Antarctica. There could be, uh, you know, universes in the ocean. There could be technology that changes the world tomorrow. There could be a bunch of bullshit. Who knows what it is? That's the whole thing. Like I feel like
Yep.
that. I feel like that. It may not be an earthquake, a flood, a fire, a comet, but whatever it is, it's asking me to be I am soul. Like this is all I got. This is it. I've got mirrors in moments, and I've got a partner with a lot of moments. But really, what would you do if this was gone? If that was gone, and so on until there's nothing left but you. And that's the frequency or the vibration that people talked about for years in this communities. We're going to be put to work one day. And I think everybody thought it was going to be, I'm going to teach you this and they're going to teach you that. And I don't think that's what it is. I think what it is that we're given the opportunity to hold that newest and highest vibration that's gone through the densest thing ever, and see what happens. Because I don't even think the universe knows what would happen. Like you said, if everybody went under a tree and just meditated, what would actually happen? If everybody made up in their mind that, hey, no, I'm not going to cooperate, I'm not participating anymore, whatever, or the grid goes out, what would your field be like? I think we've underestimated the amount of internal work, zero pointing, shadow work that we've all done, and I believe that's gonna be the work that I think people foresaw, especially with all these kids
Yeah.
coming, in too. That's crazy. These kids, you see these kids at the grocery store and stuff. You look at them, and they're like looking at you, and you can just hear their voice going, "Hey."
I see you. I see you. Yes.
They're like,
Children and animals. Yes.
"Oh yeah, the animals have been crazy for me this first couple of months. Crazy.
Yeah.
I got a whole rabbit
Yeah.
universe out here. anytime I get off track, I walk outside and one will come up to me and be like, "Hey, snap back into it," or the trees or whatever.
Oh, beautiful. Yes. Yes, you come to a realization that the only place is, as they always say, it is within. If the whole world will crumble or everything will fall around you, you just go there and just
Yeah,
that's the best place to be.
yeah. And it's interesting too because I'm like you. I love the nature thing, and I got spoiled. And I
Mm.
mean, I can go out and walk on the bayou and the streams, and I'm in the city like big time. Like I don't even like getting in the car because there's so much traffic. But it is interesting walking through the urban, the city, and kind of like you, because I took a lot of walks, especially this past year. As I was getting reacclimated. but to be able to carry my frequency with me, continue to talk to the trees, continue to be alert, continue, it was different than being just in straight nature. It was almost like I was, um, that was my purpose, was to walk around and like a tuning fork,
Yes,
aware
yes.
based on my self-awareness, and I would say probably compassion, because there was a lot of stuff, like you said. It's like layer after layer after layer after layer, and I'm going, no judgment, don't judge yourself, you know.
No, it's not, you don't judge, but you still feel it in your body. So you have to, it's like,
Yeah,
even if you have it clear in your consciousness, if it needs to still embody, it will come up.
yeah,
So you will feel it. It's the same as transmuting for the collective. In your mind, you had no reason to feel this fear or anxiety or whatever. And in the past, I would know because it's mine, because I had a lot of fears. Now, when this fear feeling comes in this physical body, I don't have a reason. So I know it's not mine, it's from the collective. But still, you feel it, and it's not a nice feeling.
no.
But we have the tools and we know how to transmute it. And what you say, thought nature is my saving, or how do you say it? Nature. If I was so lucky in Romania, it's so beautiful here, and we had always, with the camper also, your places, and I go off into the mountains, and I'm immediately one with everything, like you get that gratitude, the love, and you start to, lift up, and the sun comes, and it's like the best, and you charge yourself up, and now it's going to be a challenge for me how I'm gonna sustain when I go to a city again where there is no runaway forest to charge again. So, but I think that's also the whole art of it, because the mastery of staying close by yourself in that beautiful space wherever you are, and when you can hold that space and embody that space, you can walk through fire and move mountains.
Yeah.
So also that is for me an experience when I leave here and go into the airports and all that jazz there and the cities. Like, I'm gonna observe and see how I'm standing there, how I'm dealing with all the emotions from people around you, and yeah, let's see, bring it on. Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it too, though. Is we've all had. I've always been very extroverted. I love people. I love to create events and do things. But man, in the last year and a half, I've been like, leave me alone. I spend so much time alone. No, I don't even have music on. You know, but I think that's one of the things that we're presented with too. Is we're not meant to be living in a cave. We're meant to actually get out. If you know what I mean, we're meant to get out there and at least have our vibrational frequency be, um, you know, influencing these things outside of us that we see. These things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we come to the same point as what we said before. We can sit in that beautiful space under a tree and just be one with everything. But I think it's the art to bring that and hold that and stay in that now and stay close to yourself and start moving into places where it's more difficult to hold it than when you sit under a tree or go into the woods.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
that distortion, and this is crazy, Femke. So when I came back, we all know that the sexual distortion, programming, bullshit, whatever you want to call it, is beneath all of this. We know that. Energetically, in the root, that's where, you can't find your sacred sexuality if you don't address your sexual programming as an individual and as a world, whatever. So as I'm stepping back into this situation of the extended family, there's a huge, huge, they talk about everything's coming to be seen. Oh my God, it's like huge. And it's just like the world. Everybody's swept it under the rug, and there's many victims, and there's, you know what I mean? And so I'm having to go into this situation and keep everyone in the same space in my heart. You know what I mean? So I can't be the only one that's happening to. Um, and I think that's a good sign. But it's weird because this first came to my attention about 6 years ago when I first started doing what I've been doing, traveling around, broke and just didn't even have a car at the time, and I got wind of it, and my attitude then was totally different. My attitude then was, we're going to come down there, we're going to report this to the authorities, and everybody was like, no, 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 no. And then I got busy, and now here I am back, and it's all come to the surface again, and I'm being guided to just do what I said earlier, not to not to right any wrongs, but to simply be what is our truth and our reality and our natural nature, and to look at every one of these beings and know that they are me. It's me.
Yeah.
This was a story. It was a program. There's a lot of narratives. Who knows? Good guys, bad guys. But like you said earlier, the distortion goes up, we go up. It's our
Mm.
catalyst. We wouldn't have the contrast of we wouldn't be able to find the newer and higher light if we didn't see the shit.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
But there's also the moment you see the shit, but you also see the bigger picture. You see why
Yeah.
it's the shit, you know,
Yeah.
and that you don't have to worry about it because if it's with because it needs to come up, it needs to be seen, it needs to be cleared, and
Yes.
that's with as within, so without. So that's with you, with me, with every soul and every layer of consciousness. It's like, and there's that moment you can observe. So you see your family, you are there, and they speak, and you, because you went through it all yourself, layer for layer, you can immediately tap in where they are,
Yeah.
so to say, where, what, why, and you don't judge, you just observe it and see it. And
Yeah.
I think we don't even feel anymore to give them tools or whatever. We are just observing and if they want to know, or they will come and ask.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's another thing too. You're right about that. 'Cause I've come to believe or realize that that's simply what it is. Something that's now brought into my awareness. Now, it wasn't this way 3, 4, 5 years ago. It took longer. But when I become aware of something, it's like it's done. I may not get it at the human level, but like even if I look at that post that you did, that was very moving. You know, like I remember reading it, going, I'm not even a woman, but you know what? Like it was reaching a part of me, making me aware of something like a perspective, maybe as a
Mm.
daughter or something. I don't know, but that's what I'm talking about. So I think you know it, it's all coming out. Period. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we do or don't do. It's all coming out, and
Yes,
it's a full
yes.
time job. I don't know about you, but I don't have like major fluctuations during the day, but I have my moments. I had my moments yesterday, and I was like, man, I'm worn out. I'm tired. I'm a little pissed off right
Yeah, but
now.
that was also going around, I think.
I think so.
It's
Yeah.
quite a hectic energy yesterday and the day before even. But yeah, it's like going like this, you feel a few days ago I was like, powered up, and it's like yoo-hoo, and you can't even find nothing in your head to get you down. Everything is just
Hmm.
woohoo. So then we are up, and then next day you can wake up or suddenly and you feel that it's like, okay, so I feel you feel like lower again, things are starting to come in more stronger than if you are here. So, ugh.
I
And
look
every
at
time when I'm up here, it's like, oh, this feeling, just keep it, like tap
yeah,
into it, say it, not don't leave anymore. I'm not gonna transmute, or I'm not gonna feel any things, but it
yeah,
still comes.
I know. Like anytime I start to say to myself what you just said, I'm like, all right, I got this, man, or I cleared that, or I'm over this, or I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm
Poof.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I every time I do that, I just say, you know what? Take a breath. You take a breath when you're down. Take a breath when you're up, because what goes up must come down.
Yes.
What goes so I do. I say that to myself. Like who, you know what I mean? Like even like I'll tell you nothing that's weird. You can probably relate to this too. All these years of putting the work out every day, posting shows, all day long. And then I got to the January and February, and I knew that my clock was getting cleaned. I knew I was getting scraped out, and I couldn't even turn on the video. I was like, what's the point? What do you have to offer? Like, who do you think you are? So, so
Yeah.
I would just then I would just lay on my bed and look at the ceiling for hours.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah,
it,
I recognize that. Yes.
uh, it's almost like you can
Yeah.
feel the two things, right? You know it's all okay. You really do. You really do. And then over here, it's almost like the bittersweet, you know, like with the kids or with the parents or with the whatever, you know. And I get a sense that primarily because since December I stopped talking to people, I shut down the network. I couldn't do anything anymore. I couldn't even like type anything. And I thought everyone's going to get really pissed off at me. All these collaborators doing all these shows, but they were really, really, for the most part, really, really, without me saying anything, very understanding. And I knew that the reason they were is because they were going through the same thing in some way. They had to be. They had to be. So,
Yes. That was that period that you feel change or whatever, but you couldn't just do nothing, just be and just surrender. I guess you were pushed, or I was pushed divinely to just be and surrender in that space of feeling to do nothing. Even a walk in the forest was
yeah.
like not. It's like, and then speaking, or Rick, he's a bulldozer. He's always busy with GPMS and assisting and hearing all that. It's like, jongen, Rick, please, please, it's like I need silence. So, or I had to go, or I even
yeah. That was.
constantly
uh,
all that talking and all the stuff from people, and Rick has a heart from gold, and he is always 100% there for everybody. It's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and then still, of course, he says, I'm so busy and it's so much. I said, yeah, but Father says that. I said, well, yeah, that it's done between you and Father, but it's he's always there for everybody. It's mind blowing. I couldn't, I'm of course I am here for everybody who needs, but it's still on my terms. If I
right.
have messages in my phone and I don't feel to open it, then it's not time for me. And
Right.
then and when I feel to open it, yes, then then it flows. And that's so beautiful from Rick. He
Yeah.
just always. But that also means, like, when you are together 24/7, that it's
Yeah.
especially in the past in the camper.
Yeah.
Yeah, then sometimes
That would
I
be
just
hard.
had to ask him to go out, or I had to. earplugs. Uh,
But you know what?
yeah.
That's what happened to me. That's exactly what happened to me. And it culminated. We had I was guided to have the third Soulspeaks Fest the first week of December, and up until that point, it was serve, serve, serve. I was producing every show. I'm putting up my Sjoukje posts on all the platforms every day. I'm all the behind the scenes stuff that nobody ever sees, all the emails, all the messages, and I just kind of like arrived to the point that you just described. I said, I can't do this anymore. And it was because I was depleted. And I was depleted in the name of God. I was depleted in the name of Mother Universe. I was depleted in the name of service and love. And I think it coincided with a new world or something. Like I literally thought I was going to go. I thought this is it. I thought this is it. And that's okay. I'm ready. I'd love to get back with Morgan in the flesh and chase her around the bedroom for the next 10 years or whatever the case is, but you know have some physical, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I just it was such a big lesson, and I think I have a feeling that it had to do with the masculine, and I'm not real caught up in the feminine masculine thing. I mean, I get it. I've just heard so much of it, and I'm like, we're souls, you know what I mean? But I do feel like it had something to do with that. It had something to do with, because I don't care who we are, Todd, Rick, Matt Kahn, I don't care who it is, Donald Trump, it doesn't matter who it is. We're still subject to the human condition. Nobody's walking on water. And again, I really feel like that the work we've done is so much bigger than we know. Like that could be the biggest surprise of it all. Like, we get to the end and God says, you remember when you were acting in integrity and you were in the mountains with Rick and a little bitty mobile, little bitty caravan, and that Femke just created a whole new universe or something like that. Like I really feel like everything's upside down, and we know that. We know
Yes, I totally resonate with that. Yes.
that.
And you know what?
Hmm.
I don't think nothing of it because one day we will know again. So I'm not going to even
Yeah,
think nothing of it because we will know, And if
yeah,
we need to know, then divinely we will know. So I tend to keep things simple because we make it sometimes so complicated. I always bring it back just to that simplicity, just be and
yeah,
follow whatever comes, and yeah,
yeah. You're right.
and
You're
we will
right.
know. We know it
And
all. We only have to remember it, I guess. Or
well,
yes.
and that's another thing I tell myself because that was like 2 or 3 days ago. I was just like, it's it. It's over. And then I went to the place you're talking about. I thought, wait a minute. I'm alive. I have a life. How do I even know what happens next? You know what I mean? If I can't cherish this and be grateful for this, and then it goes to, um, I go to, and I'll tell myself, you know what's going to happen. The first thing's going to happen when you get out of here. You're going to want to come back. You're going to wish you hadn't left because
Exactly.
I was feeling
Yes.
heartache. I was feeling heartache when this happened yesterday, and it was like you said. I'm like, what's this? What this? It probably wasn't even mine, right? And my soul was telling me, this is why you came. You actually came to feel that. And I said, okay, I felt it now. I don't really want to feel it anymore. And they was like,
Yeah.
that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to figure out what you
Yes.
like and go to the, pollinate the flowers that you want to, and yeah,
Yes. And to experience all the feelings.
yeah,
Well, yeah. That's yes, that's so beautiful that you say that because there were moments in the past that you maybe you recognize it that you are just realize that giving up is no option, going back is no option, even taking your own life is no option because when you do it, you will the moment you enter the other dimension, you will think, Storm, the best time on earth is now, and you just poof. So that's no option. So there is no option to escape the situation or the feeling. And the only thing that comes up when I was in that space is like, I just want to go into the woods and just disappear in particles, explode in particles. That's the only thing what could come up as a way of getting out of that situation where I was in, or the feeling, like, just, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. And but there's no way to escape it. So poof, again, you get divinely pushed to surrender and trust and stay in that space and just surrender and trust and move on
I
step
think
by step.
it's so helpful that that people can hear you, because I think people look at someone like you and think they're different, or she doesn't go through that. You know what I mean? It's really it's, to me, it's probably the most valuable code we can get, is to actually have somebody who's connected, uh, you know, open and fully aware. We think of being aware as being aware of our multidimensionality, which is true. That's part of it, nature. But how about this? How about being aware? Like, what am I feeling? How does that feel? I love it today. See, I knew it today. Like, I got up so early today, and I thought, what the hell am I doing? And then I thought, because I can't schedule. Since I started back, I haven't scheduled more than 2 shows at one time, and they're all within 24 hours. So I thought I'd love to do a spontaneous show, and I thought of you because I remember what you told me, and I was like, "You feel like doing a spontaneous show?" And you're like, "Yes." And
let's go.
That's it, right? That's it right there.
Yes.
Though. That's it right there.
Yes.
That's the way it's supposed to work. It's just one moment. People say, "Oh, I'm taking it day by day." I'm not. I'm taking it moment by moment. I'm gonna get off this thing in a minute or two. I'm gonna go downstairs and see my aunt and her friend that came in from out of town, and have a little moment. And they're gonna leave and come back and get to another show. What you know what I mean? It's just moment by moment. That's it. I mean, I
Yes.
don't see any other way this can go. And I really appreciate this conversation this morning. And I know that your trip is there's a whole lot going on there, and I know you're going to do great, and you're going to have some great interactions. And I just want to say thank you for doing this with me today.
Thank you, Todd, for asking on the right time, because, as you know, I can't make plans. Like, if you would say, "We'll do a show next week at 3 o'clock," I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I feel. Maybe I'm like, just, yeah. So this is the perfect way to do it for me, and yeah, just go in the flow and feel. If it feels good, sure, yes, Todd, let's go. And if not, then yeah, thank you for the invitation.
Yeah.
And
well, we'll be in touch.
And
We'll do it again. We'll catch up again sometime. Tell Rick hello. Give him a hug for me. And
I will do.
Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your trip into the unknown.
Yeah. Yes.
You take care. I'll see you later.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.